afternoon, everyone. This is Omar Rian, the first presenter of Group 4. Firstly, I would like to congratulate all of the groups who had an amazing and successful presentation. You guys did a great job. And since this is the last group, I want to see all the group 1s to raise their hands. Group 1, please raise your hands. How about group 2? Group 3 reporters, and last but not the least, Group 4. Okay, and now please settle down because the presentation of Group 4 is now officially started. We have a different concept of teaching process. We have a teaching techniques, teaching approach, and teaching methods, and last but not the least, teaching techniques. And let's begin with teaching approach. So what is teaching approach? A teaching approach is a set of principles, beliefs, ideas to the nature of learning, and which is translated to the classroom. An approach, viewpoints of a purpose for learning. And let's begin with, since here in the classroom, we have a different characteristics, right? We might encounter some struggles. We might encounter some problems, like a student disrespect us. We might encounter some teachers that are like, halimbawa, yes, they are both kind, but they are not the same. They don't have the same standards. They don't have the same characteristics. So basically, we have different beliefs on how students learn from the other. So let's begin with problem-based learning. Please read.
Is an approach that involves a process of inquiry and solving open-ended questions that serve as the main problem that the student will work on. It can promote the development of critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and communication skills.
So basically, problem-based learning is a student-centered approach in which students learn in groups by working together to solve an open-ended question. But first, let's talk about what is the process of inquiry. So, a process of inquiry, it is all about asking questions. That is, the students needs to follow steps to find the answer. And the first one is questions, next is planning, next is researching, next is creating, next is implementing, and last is presentations. And it can promote the development of critical thinking, problem and solving abilities and communication skills. And let's talk about what is open-ended questions. Okay, open-ended question is all about which are those have a main it requires not just one answer, but not just one answer. It has no limits. And close-ended questions is let's say particular options. For example, there's a question and it can only answerable only by yes or no. Okay, so do you guys already understand what is the difference between open-ended questions and closed-ended? Yes. Okay, open-ended questions, it has no limitations to answer, and closed-ended has limitations of. Okay, so I prepared an example of closed-ended questions and open-ended questions, and you need to answer it. And you have to answer if it's either closed-ended questions or open-ended questions. Okay, example number 1. Okay, you have to answer if it is open-ended questions or closed-ended. First is, what's your support issue resolved?
Open notes.
Closed-ended.
Yes.
Next is, were you satisfied with the latest purchase? Close-ended. Okay, so now now I can say that you actually don't understand it. So open-ended questions, it requires more than one answers. Okay, and closed-ended questions, it has a particular option. It has limitation. Okay, so now, are you guys ready? This is group 1 and this is group 2. So every group, it has only one representative. Okay. For example, Roman and Kimberly. For example only. Okay, so ang wala ninyo, mag-isprove din ako ng question, then you have to answer it. It's either open-ended questions or closed-ended. Okay, are you guys ready? Roman? So, paunahin niyo siya. Kung gusto ka pauna, siya yung okay, so, paunahin ni Ganda. Kung gusto mauna, siya ang mag-answer. So, duha lang options. So, kung tama, so Romel ang nag-answer niya, mali yung answer, automatic kay Kimberly score. Okay. First question. Okay. First question is, how often have you visited our store in the past 12 months? Okay. Okay. How did you hear about this? Okay, man. Close. Open-ended question. Wrong. Okay. Okay, now. How did you feel about our customer service? Correct. Wait. Did you like our product service?
Open.
Close. Romance. One man. How much do you spend on community? Open-ended question. Okay, next pair. Next pair naman. Apple. This juice. Laika and this apple. Laika versus apple. Okay, please stand up. Okay, you need to stand up. Okay. Why are you looking for product service today? Very good. Are you happy with your experience with us? Okay. Next, please, Alex, Roslyn. Okay. Next, close. Okay. Please, Asa, please. Okay. What were the main reasons? Okay. Correct. Did you find what you were? Okay. One. Why are you looking for products you're offering? Okay, last. Are you interested in buying? Okay. Okay. And now let's proceed to inquiry-based learning. So, okay, please read.
Inquiry-based learning to ask questions, investigate topics of interest, and explore concepts through guided inquiry and discovery. It is an approach to learning that encourages students to engage in problem-solving and experiential learning.
So, another inquiry-based learning is the students to find the answer for their own. So they need to investigate, just like science, mathematics, from their own understanding. So it is an approach to learning that encourages students to engage in problem solving and experiential learning. So the students basically for their real world experiences. There are 4 types of inquiry-based learning. First is the structured inquiry approach. Please read.
is a sequential process that helps students learn how to ask questions and investigate real-world problems.
So in this type of inquiry-based learning, from the word sequential process, it takes time. It takes process on how they find answers. For example, so this type of inquiry-based learning is the students will investigate what was the answer of. Okay, can you guess what specific subject does this structured inquiry approach usually use? Very good, Romel. So the structured inquiry approach is usually often used in science because, for example, a teacher gives us a question about does the mongoose, for example, does a mongoose mula po ba na siya without or with sunlight? So it takes time. It is a sequential process to find an answer. Next is this week.
It is not free-form approach to inquiry-based learning.
So this type of inquiry-based learning is more free-form, which means the students they are free to choose what topic they want. For example, in our today's generation, a specific issue they have to choose what specific issue what they want to discuss, and then the students would answer different viewpoints for their own. And next is
Problem-based inquiry approach. It is a problem-solving approach to inquiry-based learning.
so from the word problem-based, what is specific subject? Wow. So it is a problem-solving approach to inquiry-based learning, which means that this type of inquiry-based learning is usually open in mathematics and engineering to find an answer what they apply to have a mathematical solution. Next is
Guided inquiry approach. It is a teacher-led approach to inquiry-based learning.
so this type of inquiry-based learning is the teacher-led approach to inquiry-based learning. So basically the teacher just guides the students to find an answer. And I guess that's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rename D. Sermon, the second reporter of the day. Kanina ay tapos na tayo talakay ni Gunong Omar ang problem-based learning and inquiry-based learning. Ngayon, itadako naman tayo sa pair teaching. Pair teaching, pakibasa.
This is an education method that helps students solidify their knowledge by teaching each other.
Ang pair teaching ay ang kabilang sa approaches in learning-centered teaching. Ito ay ang ikatlong approaches na learner-centered teaching. Ang pair teaching ay alam natin kung ano ang ibig sabihin nito. Ito ay ang pag-assign ng guro ng dalawang estudyante na sila ang magkapares sa inassign sa kanila ng mga gawain. Ngayon, ang pair teaching ay may tatlong opsyon. At ito ay ang reading buddies, cross-age pair teaching at ang role play. Pakibasa sa reading buddies.
It is a program in which two or more individuals read together.
Ito ay isang halimbawa ay yung kanina ginawa ni Omar ay kabilang yan sa pair teaching. Ngunit ang reading buddies ito ay ang dalawang estudyante ay nagbabasa sa pinili nilang libro o sa pinili nilang gawain at pagkatapos nilang basahin iyon ay i-discuss nila yon sa isa't isa. At ang pangalawa naman ay ang cross-age tutoring, a one-to-one teaching and learning process in which older student in higher grade level and the younger and lower. Ito ay ang tutoring na ang matandang estudyante ay nasa mataas na grade level or halimbawa siya ay nais niyang ipaliwanag o mas binibigyan niya ng mas mataas na confidence ang kanyang tinuturuan para mas maintindihan at magkaroon ng mataas na marka. Ang ikatlo naman ay ang role play. Pakibasa ng role play, please.
To pretend to be a particular character and to behave and react in the way that the character would.
Ang role play ay kadalasan natin ginagawa sa kahit ano pa ang pinagawa sa atin ng ating mga guro. Ito ay alam na natin kung ano ang ibig sabihin nito. Ang role play, ito ang nagbibigay sa atin o mas naipapakita ng role play kung ano ang ating naintindihan sa mga gawain na pinagpagawa sa atin ng ating guro. Yun lang po at maraming salamat.
So good afternoon everyone, I am Stephanie Sumalina and today I am going to discuss about the teaching method. So teaching method is also one of the concepts of teaching process where it is under the teaching methodology of teacher-centered learning. So what is teaching method? So teaching method, it is a systematic way of doing something. So by applying certain approach, you come up with different procedures as well as practices in teaching your students. So when we say this procedure, it takes us steps in order to do something and to achieve or to meet some goals. And since it is a plan that a teacher must do in teaching her students, it is an overall plan. Teaching method is an overall plan on how the teacher should teach, what the teacher should teach, and when to teach. So, when we say teaching method, it is how the way of teaching of the teachers, her way of teaching in the school or by employing her teaching techniques, styles inside the classroom. This is the teaching method. So remember the key term procedure and overall plan that a teacher do inside the classroom or her way of teaching. Also, it is the particular way in which something is taught or the skills or strategies that are used to teach. So it involves the content that will be discussed inside the classroom. And some examples of types of teaching method includes a traditional lecture style presentations where it is more on a teacher-learner centered and interactive discussions, hands-on activities, and technology-based tools. That is all for the teaching method. And now let's proceed to the types of teaching method. So one of the types of teaching method is a teacher-centered instruction. So when we say teacher-centered instruction, it is a type of teaching methods that is commonly used in classrooms. So it places the teacher at the center of the learning process. So the teacher here will spoon feed her children, her or his students, of course. So the teacher will give different ideas towards her students. So the students will just listen to the teacher. So the student-centered instruction is the opposite of the teacher-centered instruction. So it emphasizes active learning and puts the student at the center of learning process. So the students here are engaged in a real-world experience or scenario. The teacher will just serve as the facilitator or the guidelines of the students, and the students will do the latter just by doing the activities, and the teacher will just give them instruction, and the students will do the activities out of those given instructions. And here the third one under the types of teaching method is the technology-based learning. So it is not different to us since it is already been used from the previous form of teaching methods, which is the online learning. So it is known as e-learning. So it is a type of teaching method that incorporates technology into the learning process. So as what I have said a while ago, that the example of this technology-based learning is the online learning or the use of technology in presenting the topic, such as the use of PowerPoint presentations or the technology software. And then the fourth one, we have this rotating chair group discussion. So what is this all about? So it is a structured form of a group discussions where participants sit in a circle or around a table. So in here, it includes room structuring where the students form in a circle or place a table at the center, and then they will form a circle around that specific table. So at that certain circle, they will each participants will be given a chance to give and impart their learnings or ideas or their own perspective. And throughout that rotation, throughout the rotation, the discussion topic remains constant throughout the rotation. So the topics are being rotated. So since each participants will be given a chance to speak, so the ideas are being rotated. Not the students themselves who rotate, but the ideas. And also this rotating chair group discussion, it employs or what we call this, it promotes collaborative learning. So the students here will have their relationship towards their peer, or to actively engage in a discussion, and to actively engage to their peers or their classmates. And also it doesn't only promote collaborative learning or peer learning, it also promotes a deeper understanding about a certain topic, since they are given a chance to speak. Thus, the rotating chair group discussion promotes learning of healthy learning among the students, or a meaningful learning towards their learning process. And then the fifth one is the project-based learning. So what is this all about? It is a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in a real world and personally meaningful projects. So in here, the teacher will give a plan or series plan of tasks, and then the result of that will be through the real experience of the students. So they can be able to answer that certain questions because they are going to act or to apply their learning or experience, or based on their interest. So they are engaged in a real world experience. So they are being put in a situation that they can learn out from doing that certain task. So that is all about the project-based learning. So it is also based in the principle of John Dewey, which is learning by doing. And of course, this one also develops the critical thinking skills of the students, and also the development of life skills. And for once, I would like to tell you all that when we hear or when we see this teaching method, just remember that it is all about the overall plan that the teacher has made in employing inside the classroom, that the teacher will, or how, or the way she will teach the students, or what are the things that she needs to do in order to meet those goals. And that's all for my report. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Edwin, and this afternoon I am going to discuss the teaching strategy in a learner-centered teaching in the classroom. So teaching and learning are a dynamic process, or it has the integral part in education. The teacher serves as the facilitator of teaching to the students, in which the students has the opportunity to take ownership or control of her learning. So one of the examples of the teaching strategy in the learning-centered teaching is cooperative learning. Please read, everyone.
Classroom instruction, presentation, collaborative goals, elements, material, and locate their learning goals and learning experiences.
So cooperative learning involves the collaboration between the teachers and the students. And by that the students learn by her or his doing. So sa dekada ng 1940, isa sa mga reformistang nag-aaral ay si John Dewey, kung saan inumpisahan niyang aralin ang mga benepisyo na maaaring tagayin ng isang mag-aaral kung sila ay merong nagaganap na ugnayan. Sa pamamagitan ng ganitong paraan, mas nagiging aktibo ang kanilang pagkatuto at mas nagkakaroon sila ng malalim na pag-unawa sa mga konsepto. Ngayon ay dumako naman tayo sa mga benepisyo ng cooperative learning. Rumen o Iraman, magbahagi ang iyong kaalaman. Bakit benepisyo sa cooperative learning ang foster social interaction?
Para umangat sa students to collaborate the teachers and other facilitators.
Thank you. So, ang cooperative learning ay nagpapalakas ng interaksyon sa pagitan ng mag-aaral at ang guro. Sa pamamagitan ng pagtutulungan ng paggawa ng mga proyekto, mga assignment ba yun or mga project, ay nagkakaroon sila ng pagbabahagi ng kanilang mga ideya at konsepto. So, pangalawa ay improve decision-making skills. Ang mag-aaral, yun nga yung binahagi kanina ni Ginoong Romel Oira ay nakakasa ang kasanayan ng mga mag-aaral kung naging part siya o naging part ang decision making sa isang silid-aralan. Pangatlo, allows teacher to address diverse learning needs within the classroom. Binibining Munton, maaari ka bang magbahagi ng iyong kaalaman tungkol dito kung bakit nga ba isa sa benepisyo ito sa cooperative learning? Allows teacher to address diverse learning needs within the classroom.
Isa sa benepisyo ng cooperative learning ay hinahayaan ang guro na makita o i-address ang iba't ibang level ng karanasan at katalinuhan at kakayahan na abilities ng mga students within the classroom.
Thank you, Binibining Munton. Nagpabilang ito sa benepisyo ng cooperative learning sapagkat sa pamamagitan nito ay natutugunan ang mga kinakailangang malaman ng isang mag-aaral sa kanyang pagkatuto. Pang-apat ay nurtures essential social and cognitive skills. Binibining Anilo, maaari ka bang magbahagi ng iyong pananaw, opinion o dito? Nurtures essential social and cognitive skills. Cooperative learning.
Cooperative learning since importante siya since enables students to nurture their learning, their skills and abilities in the process of in the learning process.
Thank you. So, isa din sa mga halimbawa ng teaching strategy ay ang KWL, kung saan ang KWL chart ay matagumpay ang pagpapatupad sa Department of Education. Ano nga ba yung KWL chart? So, ang K ay ang W, ang L, maraming salamat. So ito is ang graphic organizer na ginagamit upang matugunan ang pangangailangan sa mabisang pagkatuto ng bata. Sa ganitong paraan ay binibigyan ang isang mag-aaral na tumuklas o maglakbay ng kanyang sariling paa sa kanyang pagkatuto. So ano nga ba ang maaari o application sa KWL chart? So una ay teachers can use KWL charts to introduce new units or topics, eliciting students' prior knowledge and abusing misconception. Also, students can create their own KWL charts to guide independent research projects or improve
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Eva T. Tagaunsod. Now, I'm going to report you about the reciprocal questioning and the Modiast point. Reciprocal questioning is a variation on the reciprocal teaching strategy. It is a reading strategy that gives the teacher and the students opportunities to ask each other their own questions following the reading of a selection. Like for example, about reciprocal questioning is group reading. The teacher will put students in groups of 4 and assign each student of one of the following rules is to summarize, question, clarify, and last is production. The students read as a group and complete the task together. Also, reciprocal questioning involves the identification of information, themes, and ideas. It provides a context for exploring the text more deeply and assuring the construction of meaning. There are the tips for questioning. First is ask questions based on the text. Ask questions that are based on the main idea of the reading. Ask some detailed oriented question. Ask questions based on the text features as maps, captions, and diagrams. Ask some inferential question. And they have a language of questioning. Who, what, when, why, how, what if. Reciprocal questioning is a technique where each participant take turn asking questions of the other, first state fostering engagement in deeper understanding in conversation. It's about sharing the role of questioner and respondents, promoting active listening and empathy. Ang reciprocal questioning ay nagsasangkot ng mga mag-aral na nagpapalitan ng mga tanong tungkol sa material na kanilang pinag-aaralan. Ang pamaraang ito ay nagtataguyod ng aktibong pag-aaral dahil ang mga mag-aral ay hindi lamang sumasagot ng mga tanong kundi nagbubuo rin naman ito na nagpapalalim sa kanilang pag-unawa sa paksa. Modiast point. It is a type of classroom assessment technique that tasks students to quickly identify what they find the modiest is the most confusing or less clear part of a lecture, class, or assignment. Also, the Modiast point is a simple classroom assessment techniques to see if anything is unclear or confusing the students after a lecture, a discussion, an assignment, and etc. It can be done manually or electronically with small or large groups. They are the steps of Modiast point. First is determine what you want feedback. Second, if you are using the technique in the class, reserve a few minutes at the end of the class session. Third is pass out slips of paper or index cards for students to write on. Ang Modiast point ay isang pagsasanay na nagpapakita ng pagmumuni-muni kung saan hinihiling sa mga mag-aaral na tukuyin ang pinakamalabong o pinakamahirap na aspeto ng isang aralin o paksa. Sa pamamagitan ng pagtukoy sa mga lugar ng kahirapan, maaaring humanap ng paliwanag at suporta ang mga mag-aaral na humantong sa mas malalim na pag-unawa. Yun lamang po at maraming salamat.
Good day everyone, I am Luisa S. Talait and I will be discussing about inquiry and learner-centeredness. So inquiry-based learning is an approach that involves exploring questions, problems, or scenarios to deepen understanding and develop skills through active investigation and reflection, while learner-centeredness emphasizes the learner's needs, interests, and perspective, making them to the central learning of process. So why must inquiry? Inquiry-based learning approaches, when correctly implemented, can help develop high-order information literacy and critical thinking skill. They can also develop problem-solving abilities and develop skills for lifelong learning. So, inquiry-based learning is a teaching method that involves presenting students with questions or problems to solve. Instead of just providing information, teachers encourage the students to explore the topic themselves, ask questions, and find a solution. So, this approach promotes active learning and deeper understanding. Like for example, in a science class, instead of simply lecturing about the scientific concept, so the teacher might pose a question or present a problem, and the student would then design experiments to investigate and understand the concept themselves. So this process allows students to engage with the material more deeply and develop a better understanding of how to apply their knowledge in a various situation. In teacher's role in inquiry-based learning, the teacher's role shifts from being the central source of knowledge, which is the sage on the stage, to being a facilitator or guide, which is the guide on the side. So this means that instead of simply delivering information, the teacher helps students navigate the process of inquiry, supporting their learning journey, and the teacher scaffolds learning by providing the necessary support and guidance for students, especially in the beginning stages or younger students who are new to inquiry. And this might include structuring activities, asking through provoking questions, providing resources, and offering feedback. And as students become more proficient, the teacher gradually reduces the support, allowing students to take more ownership of their learning. So now let's proceed to the characteristics of inquiry learning. First is, inquiry learning emphasizes constructivist ideas of learning. Knowledge is built in a stepwise fashion. Learning proceeds best in group stations. So, inquiry learning emphasizes constructivist ideas of learning, which suggests that students actively construct their own understanding and knowledge through experiences. Knowledge is built incrementally, step by step, as students explore questions or problems, gather information, analyze it, and draw conclusion. Additionally, inquiry learning often occurs in group station where students collaborate and share ideas and work together to solve problems, enhancing their learning through social interaction. And the next is, the teacher does not begin with a statement but with a question. Posing teaching questions for students to solve is a more effective method of instruction in many areas. This allows the students to search for information and learn on their own with teacher's guidance. So, inquiry-based learning starts with a question rather than a statement, as posing questions for students to solve has been found to be a more effective instructional method in many areas. So, this approach allows students to actively engage in the learning process by searching for information and discovering solutions on their own with the teacher's guidance, and by encouraging students to explore and investigate the topics through questioning, teacher promotes a deeper understanding and retention of knowledge. Next is, the topic problem to be studied and method used to answer this problem are determined by the student. So, in inquiry learning, the topic problem to be studied and method used to answer the problem are determined by the student. This student-driven approach allows learners to explore the subject that interests them or encouraging intrinsic motivation and engagement. By taking ownership of their learning, students are more likely to develop critical thinking, problem solving and research skills. And the last is, the above comments are represent a classroom that is fully committed to inquiry to the greatest extent possible. However, it is not necessary to take an all or nothing approach to inquiry-based methods. So, this flexible approach recognizes the teacher can incorporate elements of inquiry learning into their teaching based on their students' needs, the subject matter, and the learning environment, rather than requiring a strict adherence to a predefined model of inquiry-based instruction. And that's all my report. Thank you for watching.
Good day everyone! By the way, I am Joanne Vergara and for today, I'm going to discuss the application of inquiry learning. Inquiry learning can be applied to all disciplines, which means that inquiry learning fosters curiosity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills which are essential across all aspects of discipline. Whether it is about history, science, literature, or mathematics, this inquiry learning encourages students to explore, question, and discover knowledge independently. While discipline should be interrelated, inquiry learning include the application of ground rules. So what are these ground rules? So ground rules refers to the set of behaviors that the student need to meet in order to have a safe and healthy learning environment. Example of these ground rules are respect, collaboration, active listening, active participation, communication, and many more. So let's move on to the key components of inquiry process. We have first the activating prior knowledge. So activating prior knowledge is not new to us because we already did it in one of our major subjects. So this activating prior knowledge helps the teachers to measure the prior knowledge or paunang kaalaman ng mga mag-aaral tungkol sa paksang tatalakayin. So this activating prior knowledge also help the teachers to gain the interest and the attention of the learners all throughout the discussion. Next is providing background information. Of course, even though this inquiry learning is a learner-centered approach, the teacher also had a responsibility to provide a source of materials regarding with the topic in order for the students to gain information, for them to select and formulate meaningful inquiries regarding with the topic. Next is defining outcomes for which students will be held accountable. So since it is a learner-centered approach, the students are the ownership of their own learning process. It provides clarity on what students are expected to achieve. So those outcomes can be the benchmark for the students and also for the educators to ensure that the learning is focused, purposeful, and aligned with the desired learning objectives. Next is modeling design product outcomes, either technology or art, providing framework. So here, of course, in order for the students to achieve the goal or the desired outcomes of the teacher, the students need to see a model or a guide regarding with or connected with the activity being assigned to them. Example of it is the teacher may provide a PowerPoint presentation or either a choreographed dance performance regarding with the activity being assigned to them for the students to be able to gain an insight or ideas regarding with the activity. So it doesn't mean that the teacher provide a guide or a material regarding with the activity. It doesn't limit the creativity of the students. So those examples are just the guide for the students to gain more insights and ideas for them to be able to create a more meaningful and creative performance or activity. Number 5 is establishing a general topic or inquiry. So when we say general topic, it is a broad idea. So meaning, in order for the students to acquire more information regarding with the general topic, they need to select a specific inquiry or topic that is connected to the general topic. Next is number 6, students' teams conduct background research and define focus problem questions within broader inquiry or topic. So these key components number 6 and key components number 5 are just interconnected with each other, because these key components number 6, without knowledge or familiarity with the topic, it is very difficult for the students to develop or gain a relevant inquiry regarding with the broader inquiry. So in order to solve the problem, the students need to provide a background information or background material regarding with the broader inquiry for them to be able to gain or formulate a specific inquiry that is connected with the broader inquiry or topic. So last but not the least is establish and communicate inquiry presentation framework. Of course, since inquiry learning is a student-centered approach, students need to provide a valid and reliable sources of their information. So for the audience or for the teachers to believe of their statement or information being gained, they need to provide a, what we call that one, source of material, just like articles or that was written by famous authors for them to make the information believable, reliable, and valid. So students have also for the information be more reliable and valid, they need to provide a source of material regarding with the information they are given. So in summary, this application of learning really fosters the critical thinking and the problem solving skills of the students, where they can able to use it in the real life situations. So that's all with my report, and thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Gwen Oyangurin, and my topic for this afternoon is all about the active learning in learner-centered context. In learner-centered context of active learning this is the powerful approach to education and the emphasis of the importance of the learner being actively involved in the learning process, because it has the reasons on how the student and the instructors would integrate the fosters of learning inside the classroom, on how they learn and exchange lessons in each day of assessments. Also, the number one part of the active learning in learner-centered context is the shifting the focus of activity from teacher to learners. Of course, the class would not be only involved by a singular point of view in the lessons. It also evolves with this kind of changes in the classes. In the tradition approach to college teaching, most class spent with the professor lecturing and the students are listening. It is somehow what we call the traditional learning strategies of the classes, which the teachers, or for example, I am discussing right now and no one is answering because I have no questions at all, and the students will also just writing down their notes, and the teacher would give the information all throughout the lessons. And we have these types of learner-centered teaching methods, which includes the active learning, cooperative learning, the interactive teaching, and learning. First, we will discuss the active learning, in which the student would ask if there are questions given in the class, or the teachers have given questions to the class, or maybe in the other kind of activities there would be a quizzes or any kind of orals, any kind of participation that a student will share also their learnings during the class. Also, we have the cooperative learning, which the students will go through an activity or any kind of practices that the teacher has to manipulate the class to have their process of learning during the class also. Inductive learning and teaching. It is a process of the teacher and the students would have the learning inside the classes. They would cooperate during the class hours, and they would exchange learnings from each other. And also we have the second part of the active learning in learner-centered context, which is the implement active learning strategies. Of course, in the implementing of the active learning strategies, the class is not only involved by one perspective or one kind of ideas. We have this kind of broad terms which the responsibility is placed upon the students' abilities, in which we have this kind of different kind of intelligence. We have the students that are good with arts, literary arts, or any kind of learning or academics which they process and practice in each day, and they foster inside the classroom. The teachers only the facilitators rather than one-way providers of information. For example, they have this kind of proposal assignments. They are given the task to, okay class, you can use your time right now, and next meeting we will have this kind of proposal, and you are going to present your ideas in the class, and we will go through any deliberation in which we will what will be the activities that we are going to go through after we proceed to this kind of participation and cooperative practices. Also, these are the learning pedagogies or strategies that is given and used inside the classroom by the facilitators and with the involvement of the students. Number one, the purposeful, meaningful, and congruent activities inside the classroom. It is not usable and it is useless if it is not purposeful, and it cannot cause any kind of learning or changes or process and the kind of new ideas in the students and also the instructors. Number two, it is aligned with goals, outcomes, and assessments. Of course, we have this what we call the lesson plan. We have planned all the lessons, and all we can go through as a teacher is we have this kind of assessments where the students can have this assessment for learning, assessment of learning, assessment in learning, or kind of assessment that the students has to go through in order to have these outcomes that the students will learn this kind of verbs, will compose a sentence, a direct independent sentence, or the dependent sentence. Number three, to promote the student-student and instructor-student interactions. Of course, we will try and we will foster or practice any kind of learning which the instructor will not just give the lessons, and they will focus on the what we call the traditional learning. We will practice how to build relationship with our students. We will learn how to build relationship with our co-students or our schoolmates or classmates, or any kind of interaction that the student will foster and practice in each day that they can use in their daily lives. And also the last one, the respect diverse talent and ways of learning. We have what we call the activities and practicing and participating which they are comfortable with, and they prefer to learn and to practice and to learn more. We have what we call the preferences which the student and the instructor would offer some activities or this kind of project that the student will going to learn and can be used in each life. Therefore, for the last part, sa kabuuan, we have what we call the kind of interactions which evolves inside the class. The active learning in learner-centered context, we are practicing how to not just solely learn, but also to cooperate and to open mind the kinds of new ideas, the young minds of the students, and the teachers will have this kind of adjustments and assessment, the better assessment for the students. And we will go through this kind of changes, and we will try to adjust the environment for everyone, and we will learn more naturally and genuinely that no one is pressured, and everyone can grow with, and everyone can be more comfortable and purposive and positive environment. That's all. Thank you. I hope you learned something from it. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Ashi Sabino and today I will be discussing the examples of activities that promotes active learning in a learner-centered context. The first one is group discussion. It is when a group of people come together to talk about a specific topic or issue. Each person shares their thoughts, ideas, and opinions while also listening to others and working together to find solutions or reach a common understanding. It's like a conversation where everyone has a chance to contribute and learn from each other. The second one is project-based learning. It is an educational approach where students learn by actively exploring real-world problems and challenges. Instead of traditional lecture-style teaching, students work on projects that require them to investigate, collaborate, and create solutions. Project-based learning encourages critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and practical application of knowledge, preparing students for the success in the modern world. The third one is the case studies. Case studies are detailed examination of a particular subject or situation, often used in fields like business, psychology, and medicine. They involve thorough analysis and documentation of real-life scenarios to understand how different factors interact and influence outcomes. Case studies provide valuable insights into specific issues, helping researchers, professionals, and students gain a deeper understanding of complex topics and make informed decisions. The fourth one is peer teaching. It is when the students teach and learn from each other rather than solely relying on instructional from a teacher. It involves students taking on the role of teacher to explain concepts, lead discussions, or assist their peers in understanding course material. Peer teaching promotes active engagement, deeper understanding, and collaboration among students. It enhances learning outcomes by providing multiple perspectives and fostering a supportive learning community within the classroom. The fifth one is role play. It is an interactive activity where the participants or the students take on assigned roles and act out scenarios or situations. During role play, the students may assume the roles of characters, professionals, or historical figures and engage in a script or improvised interactions. Roleplay helps to develop communication skills, empathy, problem-solving abilities, and emotional intelligence. It provides a safe and supportive environment for experiential learning and allows participants to explore new roles, behaviors, and perspectives. The sixth one is interactive quizzes. Interactive quizzes are engaging activities that involve learners actively participating in answering questions or solving problems. This allows them to interact and compete with each other, makes the learning more fun and exciting. These quizzes often incorporate elements such as multiple choice questions, true or false statements, matching exercises, and short answer responses. Unlike traditional quizzes, interactive quizzes may include features like immediate feedback and gamified elements to enhance engagement of motivation. They promote active learning, retention of information, and assessment of understanding in a fun and interactive way. The seventh one is the reflection activities. Reflection activities engage students in evaluating their learning experiences, insights, and progress through various methods like journaling, group discussion, self-assessment. Students develop self-awareness, critical thinking, and ownership of their learning journey, enhancing their ability to learn, grow independently. Learning by doing, where individuals learn best through hands-on experiences and active participation. Instead of just listening to lectures or reading textbooks, learners engage in a real-world activities, experiments, simulations, or projects to acquire knowledge and skills. This can be lab experiment, field trips, or any hands-on activities that is related to the subject. Learning by doing encourages active engagement, critical thinking, and the development of practical skills and essential for success of a various fields. Now let's go to the key components of active learning. The first one is active participation. It refers to engaging fully and proactively in an activity, discussion, or learning process. It involves contributing ideas, asking questions, offering solutions, and collaborating with others. And active participation encourages involvement of critical thinking and deeper understanding of the subject matter. It enhances learning outcomes by promoting engagement, interaction, and exchange of ideas among participants. The second one is collaborative learning. It is an educational approach where students work together in groups to achieve shared learning goals. Instead of learning independently, students collaborate through discussions, project, or problem-solving tasks. Collaborative learning fosters teamwork, communication, skills, and critical thinking as students learn from each other's perspectives and experiences. It encourages active engagement and can lead to a deeper understanding and retention of information compared to individual learning methods. The third one is self-directed learning. It is an approach where individuals take responsibility to their own learning process, setting goals and managing their time instead of relying solely on formal instruction. Learners identify their learning needs, interests, and preferred learning methods. They actively seek out and engage with resources such as books, online courses, videos, or mentors to acquire knowledge and skills. Self-directed learning promotes autonomy, self-motivation, and lifelong learning habits, empowering individuals to pursue learning opportunities independently and adapt to various learning environments. The fourth one is the real-world connection. In education, it refers to the practice of linking classrooms, learning to real-life situations, experiences, and applications. It involves demonstrating to students how the knowledge and skills they acquire in the classroom can be relevant and useful in their everyday lives, future careers, and society as a whole. By making connections between theoretical concepts and practical scenarios, educators can help students understand the significance and relevance of their learning, enhancing motivation, engagement, and deeper understanding. Real-world connections also prepare students to apply their knowledge in diverse contexts and solve problems that they may encounter outside the classroom. The last one is the reflective practice. It is the process of self-examination and critical analysis of one's own experience, actions, and decisions. It involves educators and students regularly reflecting on their experiences, strategies, and outcomes. It encourages educators to assess the effectiveness of their teaching methods and adapt them based on students' engagement and understanding. Similarly, students reflect on their learning process, identify strengths and weaknesses and areas for improvement, and actively participate in shaping their own learning journey. And that would be all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Mrs. Anna Tuliho Soquano. So for today, my topic is all about materials and technology and learner-centered instruction. So let's dig deeper into this. So before that, let's proceed to the learner-centered instruction. What is learner-centered instruction? So learner-centered instruction is educational approach. Why? Because it focuses about the needs and abilities of the students and also the learning style of the students. No, rather than the preferences of the teacher or the demand of the curriculum. So this approach is active learning. Why? Because the students here is actively participating in the class and also they are actively participating and applying and practicing on what they've learned. No, rather than the passive learning where the teacher is only discussing and the students is only listening. Now, let's proceed to the examples of materials and technology in learner-centered instructions. So the first one is textbooks and educational materials. So these textbooks and educational materials, both digital and printed, is very helpful to the students. Why? Because it provides educational knowledge and also information. And also, it has supplemented with worksheets, study guide, and also preferences materials. Next is online learning platforms, no, such as learning management systems. It provides centralized locations to access course materials, assignments, and also resources. No, it also often includes features like discussion forums or multimedia content. Now let's proceed to the digital libraries and online resources. So these resources can access through online, and also it provides the student up-to-date and diverse information. Like for example, the educational materials, research papers, and multimedia content. Now let's proceed to the multimedia tools. So these tools can be used to explain complex concepts and also can provide real-world examples, and also it enhance the learnings of the students. So one of the examples of this is videos, animation, podcast, interactive simulation, and many more. Now let's proceed to the collaboration and communication tools. So this tools is active learning. Why? Because the students here is actively participating and exchanging their ideas to the peers and their groups, no? And for example, the example of these tools is Blackboard, discussion boards, and messaging apps. We always use this kind of tools, no? Since then, no? And also last year when we was in pandemic. Now let's proceed to the mobile devices and apps. So these tools, it can be used to the student to access educational materials and also to engage in interactive activities anywhere and everywhere. Of course, we commonly use this kind of tools, no? Especially it is very convenient in today's world, and I was very proud to those students who only use their mobile devices to create output, because it's very hard talaga. Even me myself, I don't want to use my mobile devices in doing my output because I don't know how. And yeah, I was very proud of that. Now let's proceed to the virtual reality, VR, or augmented reality. So this one, it provides real-world environment, and also it can develop, and also it can give you virtual communication between the subject and other world. No, and also it allows students to explore complex content, and also in a way of engaging in hands-on manner. So this type of tools, no, it is very, it's not very usable, because since this tools is very, masyado kasi itong mahal, at based on my research, it commonly used to those public schools like Ateneo, UP, and De La Salle. And also, the last but not the least, the online assessment and feedback. So these tools, it needs feedback. Why? Because it allows students to see their areas of development, and also it allows students to track their learning. So for example of online assessment and feedback, the quizzes, tasks, and self-assessment platforms. So in conclusion, materials and technology in learner-centered classroom is very interactive and also collaborative
no? And also, the main goal here is to help the student to learn and grow according to their wants, no? So that's all, and thank you.
So good afternoon everyone, my name is Camille Teneza and today I'll be discussing the different assessment in a learner-centered environment. So first, we have here the summative assessment. So summative assessment are used to evaluate student learning, skill acquisition, and academic achievement at the conclusion of a defined instructional period, typically at the end of a project, unit, course, semester, program, or school year. Next is we have the formative assessment. So formative assessment occurs during the learning process. Its purpose is to provide ongoing feedback to both students and teachers, allowing them to monitor progress and adjust instruction accordingly. So formative assessments can take many forms. Includes quizzes, classes, discussions, homework, assignments, and observations. So the focus of formative assessment is on identifying areas where students may need additional support or clarification. So formative assessments help teachers identify concepts that students are struggling to understand, skills they are having difficulty acquiring, or learning standards they have not yet achieved, so that adjustments can be made to lessons, instructional techniques, and academic support. Next is we have the peer assessment. So in peer assessment, students evaluate the work of their peers based on predefined criteria. So this encourages collaboration, critical thinking, and communication skills. So peer assessment can take place in various formats, such as peer reviews, group projects, or peer reading activities. So it not only provides valuable feedback to the students being assessed, but also help the assessor develop a deeper understanding of the subject matter. And lastly is the self-assessment. So in self-assessment, it involves students reflecting on their own learning progress and evaluating their performance against predefined criteria or learning objectives. So in self-assessment, it encourages metacognition, self-awareness, and self-regulation skills. So self-assessment activities may include setting personal goals, keeping learning journals, or completing self-assessment checklists by taking ownership of their own learning. So students become more actively engaged and motivated. And that would be all. Thank you.
Good day everyone. Today let's proceed to discuss the purpose of assessment and the learner-centered environment and multifaceted. So by the way, I am Angelica Tunong and we have here for the purpose of assessment and learner-centered. The first one is informing instruction. The second one is promoting growth mindset. And we have here also the fostering lifelong learner skills. And the last one is ensuring equity and fairness. Let's start with informing instruction. So assessment helps teachers understand where students are in their learning process, allowing them to tailor instructions to meet individual needs. Of course, assessment helps teachers to figure out the performance of the students and how they learn the discussion. So it's a way for teachers to track or aware if a students understand their discussion or their lesson. So when teachers know that there is a students are doing well or other students are struggling to learn their discussion, they can find a way that helps each student to become knowledgeable. Like for example, in a classroom. So if a teachers find out that the most students are having trouble in a math concept or an English subject, they can find more time in finding or choosing or finding strategies on how to explain it in a different ways until everybody or everyone learn it. So one way of teachers do this is by using formative assessment techniques like CATS or classroom assessment techniques. So it is a tool that helps teachers to see on how students are doing and of course adjusting teaching accordingly if it's needed. So therefore, assessment help teachers to give the right support and the guidance to each students based on what they need to learn. The second one is promoting growth mindset. So assessment provides opportunities for students to embrace a growth mindset by viewing mistakes and challenges as an opportunities for learning and growth rather than as a failure. Second is constructive feedback and opportunities for revision help students see assessment as a tool for improvement rather than simply a measure of achievement. Why is it that promoting growth mindset is important? Okay, so of course, no, as we all know that in our life we experience a lot of mistakes that lead us to feel that we are a failure. So by that, as a teacher, we need to promote a growth mindset through assessment means, of course, helping students think positively about mistakes and challenges. So instead of feeling like they failed when they make mistakes, they need to accept it and learn from it for them to feel better. So people will say that if we experience a lot of mistakes, we became stronger and understand the meaning of life and of course the meaning of experiences. So therefore, as a teacher, we need to give our students a helpful feedback and chances to fix a mistake. So it shows that students that assessment are not just about getting grades, it's about getting better at all things. So like for example, no, some types of assessment lets students make mistakes and learn from them, which make learning more personal and meaningful. So therefore, promoting a growth mindset through assessment is all about ensuring students to see challenges and opportunities to grow and improve. So the more you have a good mindset, the more you can have a better future. So always keep in mind that the mindset led us to find a way to learn and explore more to improve and accept our strengths and of course our weaknesses. Let's move on to the third purpose of assessment in a learner-centered environment. So we have here fostering lifelong learning skills. So what is lifelong learning skills? It is an assessment in a learner-centered environment emphasizes the development of a lifelong learning skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration. Of course, by engaging in authentic assessment and reflective practices, students develop the skills they need to succeed both academically and their future endeavors. When teachers use tests and activities that focus on the students' need to learn, it helps them to get better at skills they can apply or use all their lives or in the future. Like for example, thinking about things, solving problems, having good communication with others, and of course, working together. So in this world, we have a lot of information to learn. So if you want to be knowledgeable, please explore the meaning of experiences, the meaning of life. So moreover, as a teacher, we must embrace education to spread learning or information to our students. For instance, instead of just taking regular tests, students might do projects or tasks that shows what they learn in a real way. So then they think about it and how they can do it and how they can do to be a better next time. So this helps them to set goals and figure out how to be knowledgeable. Okay, the last one, ensuring equity and fairness. So assessment in a learner-centered environment strive to be fair, transparent, inclusive, ensuring that all students have an equal opportunities to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. Okay? By using multiple assessment methods and providing accommodation as needed. Okay, teacher can support diverse learner, promote equity in the classroom. So I would say that in this world, equity is really important. Okay, if you are wondering what is the difference between equity and equality, so as we all know, Article 1, that everybody must treat equal even though we all have differences. It is because we have a lot of differences. It means that we have also a different strength and weaknesses in life. So like for example, in the store of if the store sell a lot of or all shoes in the same size or an average size, there is a tendency that there's some people that can't buy the shoes. Why? Because it will not fit them. So it emphasized that not all the time we must equal. We all need to be equity to have a fairness. So as a teacher, we need to find a solution to meet what students really needs to learn. Of course, teacher also use different ways to test students, like projects or presentations, so that everybody or everyone can show their skills in their own way. So as if students need extra help or different way to learn, so teacher make sure to give them what they need, so everybody has the same chance to do better. So overall, it makes sure that every student, no matter who they are, has an equal chance to do their best in class. Okay, in conclusion, assessment is in a learner-centered environment, has many important jobs. First, it helps students understand how to teach better by seeing what students know and what the students still need to learn. The second one encourages students to believe that they can improve and grow by focusing on effort. Lastly, it teaches students how to keep learning even after they graduated or finished school, which is really important for success in life. So assessment is not just about grades, it's about helping both teachers and students become a better learners for life. So that's all. Thank you. Okay, in conclusion, assessment is in a learner-centered environment, has many important jobs. First, it helps students understand how to teach better by seeing what students know and what the students still need to learn. The second one encourages students to believe that they can improve and grow by focusing on effort. Lastly, it teaches students how to keep learning even after they graduated or finished school, which is really important for success in life. So assessment is not just about grades, it's about helping both teachers and students become a better learners for life. So that's all. Thank you.